Earthlings. Welcome back to Sound Mind. Still 2 days behind schedule. Just a couple quick announcements before we get into the meat of the video. Of the two next videos I'm uploading, one of them is going to be a review of Steven Wilson's new album To The Bone, and the other one will be another live version of Armistice Day Part 2, which I performed at the house show I did last summer when I opened for Matthew Azrieli, because I honestly don't know which version I like better, because on the one hand I like what Zayn did with the effects, and I like how Ian soloed with chords, but on the other hand Joe Sprunt is Joe Sprunt. But what I've really come here to talk about is the song I uploaded last Friday, I Could Fall in Love With You. This was the only co-write on the program. It was co-written with Aura Pineda when we were taking a class on 20th century women songwriters, and that was one of my favorite classes at Berkeley, as I've said in a previous video. I mean, how often do you get me, her, Aubrey Harris, Emma Williams, Mahir, John Kutsuk, Phoenix Lazar, Hound, Corinne from Lux, and Kristen Corpus in the same class? Only at Berkeley. The assignment that this song came out of was to write two songs on the same topic, one in the style of Dorothy Fields, one in a more contemporary style. This was, of course, the first one. The second one wasn't very good, because of the two of us, I'm the more musically oriented, and Aura is the more lyrically oriented. But we decided to swap roles for the second one, and I had this idea of a pop-punk type chorus, and Aura came up with a riff for the verse, but since I was the lyrical captain and she was the musical captain, it didn't turn out that well, because I was trying to write love lyrics and she was trying to write a pop-punk riff, so we were way far outside of our comfort zones. But this one was the polar opposite. I mean, it sounds like a legit standard, so let's break it down. Before we were even aware of the assignment, we were reading a book about Dorothy Fields. Simply inspired from that, Aura had already begun writing a Fields-type lyric, and she had also made a recording of her playing around with some melodic ideas and chords for the first section, which she sent me. It went sort of like this. Baby, I know that we're just friends, like each other's best mates, but I am through with dates, and I could fall in love with you. That's kind of how it went. As you can hear, I kept most of that. I just added a couple chords, because I thought what she did was brilliant. So most of the A section was Aura's, but when it came to the bridge, it was my turn to create music. So the first thing I did was look at her lyrics, and I noted the unusual rhyme scheme. Haul, joy, call, boy. Okay, so far so good. But then we get brunch, crunch, hunch, longer, and that sort of AAAX or AAAB, some people call it different things. It put in my head the phrasing, not the rhyme scheme, but the phrasing of the bridge of Can't Help Falling in Love, coincidentally a similar title, where you have a short phrase played 3 times, then a longer one, resulting in an odd number of bars. So it is in my bridge. Alright, that was the writing stage. Now to the arranging stage. I went for a fairly traditional jazz style, as you could hear, although I knew I wanted the bridge to be a bit more boogie, if there is such a thing as a slow boogie. For the solo section, I heard a group of horns alternating with a tenor sax solo, which I got pretty excited about because I knew Paul Melland was going to be in my band. This arrangement was one of the easiest to write from the program, one of the ones that just flowed out of me. I don't quite know what I was thinking, I just knew I wanted the melody to switch from the trumpet to the alto sax in the bridge. I think I did what most jazz arrangers do in these types of sections, which is write out all the melody lines, then harmonize all the important notes, and then fill in the gaps. The part I had the most trouble working out was near the end, where it goes, I could fall in love with. I knew I wanted the bass to move down while the melody moved up. It was just a matter of finding chords that sounded good and appropriate for that bit. Strangely, the very end is the very first bit I came up with for the arrangement after writing the song. And now we come to the third and final stage, choosing a singer. I knew I didn't want either of us who had written it to sing it in the recital. I was initially considering one of the other people from the class, maybe Laura, who had also written a thing with me, which turned out really good in a later assignment when we were writing a Carole King or Goffin King style song. Maybe Aubrey. I eventually asked Emma, because her voice reminded me of my friend Thea Rose, who I, among other things, had started a short-lived band in high school. Brilliant jazz singer. I thought that Thea's voice would, and still do think that her voice would really suit this type of song. So I asked Emma because she had a similar voice. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. So I thought, you know what? I'll ask someone whose voice sounds nothing like that, like one of the people from the classes I was accompanying that semester. Enter Lo Ortiz, who I recently realized looks like a Latina Carole King. You know, and she brought her own thing to the song, and as a trade-off, she sang in my recital and I played piano for her jury performance because she was looking for a pianist. So that was a plus. Anyway, that is how I wrote, arranged, and performed this particular arrangement of this particular song. Only one more song to go from the program, and as I've said in a previous video, it could get a bit crazy. Gafaba.